Now, when we walk around the car, she points out the minor scratch. What's the minor scratch? Like, she's been in an accident, boys. She's been in an accident. Well, hello there and welcome back to a brand new video, where today is a very exciting day because the event has already happened and pretty much what I'm doing is recapping today because this is part 2 of the hunt for a new car for my parents. So obviously the first part was obviously a bit more video, there was, more of a vlog. This is more of me just, after viewing the car, giving you guys an update what's happened. I've taken a few photos because the car we saw today was a private seller and it's a little bit harder to film, whereas the one before was a dealership and he was just sitting in the office, he didn't really care too much, and we were just like, yeah, let's just browse around. So because this person, obviously being a private seller, you got to be a little bit cautious, I don't know, they probably get a bit wary, like, what are you doing? So instead I took some slide pictures and I thought, well, hey, part 1 you saw more of a vlog, part 2, I thought it'd be a good idea just to give you guys a recap of what's happened and give you guys some images and all that fun stuff. So I think today should be quite a good video, and thank you for all the support on part 1. Yeah, I'm in like my work uniform, I don't have a work uniform, I have shirt and trousers and work stuff. But anyway, if you do enjoy today's video, then be sure to leave a massive thumbs up, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts with very kindness. And without further ado, let's talk about the car we've just seen, because there's some good news, there's some bad news, and yeah, some funny stuff as well. So the first thing to note, this was a BMW 118 SE, pretty much the same model and the same spec as the previous one. This car was in a nice blue, it had cream seats and everything else. It was a pretty decent car. However, the distance for this car was, well, why I say distance? It was a good, what was it? It supposedly, without traffic, should take around 30 minutes. But it didn't take 30 minutes, it took us over an hour. We got there, lovely lady. We started talking about the car. She wanted about $6,750 for the car. Had about 50,000 miles. This was an automatic this time. And we were like, oh, okay, this is pretty interesting. Now, in the description of the ad, she was like, immaculate condition, everything else, just a few minor scratches. And you thought, with the age of the car being 2009, you think, okay, that's understandable. Now, when we walk around the car, she points out the minor scratch. What's the minor scratch? She's been in an accident, boys. She's been in an accident. There's paint scraped, there's paint coming off. You can even see, the under paint, what's the word? The base coat of the paint, it's the base coat? Basically, you can see the primer, the black primer at the bottom. And I'm like, This is no non-made, she's in immaculate condition and a minor scratch. It's not a minor scratch, is it? So that was the first thing. That was okay, well, clearly it's not what you said. Anyway, we walk around the car, and the other thing I noticed quite a few things, but the rear wheels were very interesting. The tyre didn't really fit properly on the car. So there were 18-inch alloy wheels, and I think the rears were 245, 3518, but there was rubber and you could still see where the rubber should be over the alloy. I know some people do spec those because they look cool. For me personally, I like to have a bit more meat on the tyre, and yeah, I think they should be 255. Online it says 245, but I think those specific alloys, they must be maybe 8J or 8.5J, and I think they definitely need 255. So that was the second thing. I was like, whoa, this is a little bit interesting, very odd indeed. I'm just doing something, boys. There we go, a bit more light for you. But no, so that was the second thing. So first thing was the bumper. Second thing was the rear alloys. The front alloys seemed to be okay. The third thing, I guess, most of the alloys were scuffed. On the back, there was a few scratches, as expected, minor scratches. And they were sort of minor anyway. There was a chip on the windscreen. She didn't say that in the ad. There's a chip in the windscreen. Really? Oh, man. That was okay, that's we're a chip on the windscreen's okay, but it wasn't even brought up in the MOT or anything, so that was kind of And then the final straw, and it was not really a final straw, but the final straw was the radio. It's completely effed. It's Like, it's fizzy, it's all pixelated and everything else, and I thought, so you've said to me, it's an immaculate condition car, and the front bumper, which has apparently a minor scratch, has been in an accident, like it's been scraped. You know, the alloys are scuffed, the rear wheels, like, they need wider tyres, or they're not the correct tyre size. Even though they are apparently online, but they clearly wasn't. You know, they're chipping the windscreen, the radio. I mean, the seats were nice and everything else. You know, the exhaust was rusty, and I thought, the one we saw before didn't really have any of this. And, like, if this was to be a project car, like, if this car was for me, then you could probably get it for quite a cheap price in terms of, like, put a nice exhaust on, like not too loud, like a nice exhaust on them. You know, do the windscreen, black the alloys, etc. And it'd be quite a good project car. But for my mum and my parents, they sort of really want, like, an out-of-the-box type car. If you know what I mean? Like, out of the box in terms of, you know, you buy their car, doesn't really need much doing. There we go. So kind of unfortunate. Now, the other interesting thing was obviously the price. So she wanted $675. My dad at first was like, before we even test drove it, because he was a bit and ahhing. He was like, you know, oh, I don't mind it, Matt. It looks not quite nice. I mean, it was quite a nice car, but I was like, Dad, like, don't get mugged off, mate. Like, you know, it's not really worth it, to be honest, mate. Anyway, he was like, you know, I'd probably offer you $6. But we went for a test drive. We had a quick chat. Test drive was probably, I don't know, I don't know, the test drive was what, like 5 minutes long, brakes took, I mean, it drove fine, everything else, but, it, you know, being a 118 SE, I mean, I'm trying to convince my parents to get the 120 M Sport, because I think, it looks, you know, it's faster, it looks better, but overall, kind of disappointed. We drove all that way, and the advert was like immaculate condition when it really wasn't, and there wasn't many photos. And you know, I feel sorry for her because she is leaving the country, and she was a lovely girl and everything else. And I think that's like the first ever time she sold a car, and you know, bless her, you know. And I do feel sorry for her. But for me, she wants $6,750. I personally, I know it's going to be like, whoa, man, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? But like $5,000, like, is what it's worth, really. I mean, we looked online recently. We looked online literally moments ago. You know, a new bumper, you know, with like, so not like a brand new bumper, but a bumper like resprayed is about £400 to £500. But if you guys know, if you're a car guy or know anything about painting, you don't just paint the front bumper, because obviously it'll be mismatching with everything else. Because obviously that paint will be new, the other paint will be probably OEM paint. So you probably want to get like the bonnet done and like your front fenders done and everything else. So that's probably like £1,000. The radio can be fixed. The radio, a guy can come out and fix the radio for you, and I think that's around about £200. But for me, there's a lot of work to do. And, you know, project car-wise, perfect, but it's not. So, well, I'm and ahhing, there is a few others out there. I mean, we looked online, one for a nice black one, 120i, very nice. M Sport, one I wanted. Well, I say for me, I'm not driving it, but I may drive it, you don't know. But I was like, this one's nice, but then the guy, before we called him up to say, hey, can we come round? He goes, oh, it's an engine warning light. You didn't tell us this in the ad, mate. Like, what is this with people putting, like, in the ad saying it's amazing, and then you call them up or you visit them and it's completely not really what they've said. And the guy has an engine warning light, and he knows what the issue is. BMW have told him it's apparently a sensor, but he doesn't want to fix it because he can't be bothered, and like the sensor itself is like £250 just for the part itself, and obviously you've got to pay for fitting, etc. So yeah, well, I'm and ahhing. My mum's car is nearly on its way out, so it's definitely like, you know, it needs to be changed, but I'm trying to like say, you know, parents, like, don't rush this, please, because, you know, £6,000-7,000 is a lot of money, right? And I don't want them to buy a car which they're sort of happy with. Like, you shouldn't buy something if you're sort of happy with. You should be like, I want this. Not, yeah, I like it, but it needs this doing. Project car, perfect, but it's not a project car, you know? And, you know, I said to him, you know, even with the 120i and the 118, the exhaust is pants. I mean, I not in terms of like noise and etc. I mean, yeah, it's pretty quiet, but there's the look of it. Like, having the nice, like, dual pipe would look 110% better. But, yeah, giving you guys an update, really. Part 1, I say part 1 was pretty interesting. This, I don't know, do you guys enjoy this type of stuff? I mean, if we go to a dealer, it's probably easier to film. But going to a private place is a little bit harder to film because, obviously, you know. But would you guys be okay with me taking photos and just, like, coming back and talking to you what happened? I think that'd be pretty cool. But no, just one of those things, really. We just kind of wasted a bunch of time. However, a funny note, well, I say funny, kind of like a health hazard, like quite serious. But anyway, we're on the motorway on the way home, and a sign says, like, oncoming vehicle. They made the whole motorway go 20 miles an hour. I did not see an oncoming vehicle. So, yeah, today was kind of a wasted journey, but I get to make a video, so whenever I get to make videos about something, whether it be on holiday or an event, it doesn't really seem as a waste. But for my parents, driving all that way, viewing the car, you know, expecting high hopes and then find out that it's not really what they were after, and, you know, the motor on the way home, it should be a long day. But we all have ordered a Domino's. So, you know, shout out to Domino's. If you want to hook your boy up, let me know. But yeah, having a Domino's, well, I would say, going to have a Domino's is still waiting for it to arrive, but no, it's been an interesting one. So if you have enjoyed today's video, then be sure to take a massive thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, comment down below your thoughts or kindness, 118i or 120i. It's got to be the 120i, right? But anyway, have a wonderful day, and as always, seeing you guys in my next video. Adios, chaps. Boom! She's a diamond under